Sahara, you're building something most people don't even realize exists. Okay, for somebody or someone who's hearing about travel coaching for the first time, how is Travel Coach Network different from traditional coaching or the travel industry as we know it?
Yeah, so I think everyone has heard of a travel agent or travel advisor, right? Someone who's going to help you plan and book your trip or do it for you. They're going to ask the logistics of, how many people, what is your budget, where do you think you want to go, what do you want to do there, what have you done in the past, all of that. A travel coach is going to help you use travel as a tool in your life. So what I say is your toolkit for living life, right? We travel for very personal reasons. We travel for very emotional reasons. We travel to celebrate. We travel to connect with our loved ones deeper. We travel to figure out, what life means to us and what makes us happy. Those are some of the things that I traveled for. And travel coaching really brings all of that purpose to the surface. So using travel as a tool for things like healing, self-discovery, transformation, or reaching whatever specific personal or even professional goals that you have. I always say kind of think life coaching plus travel. But with that said, what we've noticed in the Travel Coach Network over the past several years is an influx of different roles like tour operators, travel advisors, retreat leaders, health, wellness, life coaches, business coaches coming in to combine the concept of travel coaching with how they best serve their clients because of their passion for travel.
Gosh, wow, that's impressive. But you said over 750 different business coaches are currently in your network.
Travel coaches, yeah.
Travel coaches, 40 plus countries.
Mm-hmm. In over
That's
40 different countries around the
that's
world.
unbelievable. You didn't just build a coaching program, you're building a marketplace and ecosystem, right? What was the bigger vision behind?
Yeah. So I studied hospitality and tourism management in university. I graduated in 2010. Could have easily taken any of the jobs that existed in the big city. I was living in Chicago at the time, big city for tourism and hospitality, right? I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to be able to kind of go on my adventure at 22 years old. And so I thought I would go to Europe for the first time, backpacking Western Europe. I'd come home and figure out my life like we all think we need to do right away after we finish school. And I got what we say bit by the travel bug. And I kept on traveling for those 10 years to 84 countries. And it was during that time that I was realizing and learning a lot about the travel industry beyond what I learned in school and beyond what I ever thought. And I was realizing that we turn to travel for such personal, emotional reasons. There's the rise of digital nomadism and people quitting the 9 to 5 to travel the world. And it became so popular, it became like a tagline, right? Quit the 9 to 5 to travel the world, or, quit the cubicle. And everyone thought it was just this trend for lazy, crazy millennials who didn't want to work. But what we were realizing is that through my hundreds of thousands of conversations with other travelers throughout my journey is that they were traveling for a reason. Like they had their own why for travel. But what I noticed is that emotion towards travel wasn't being reflected in the travel industry as a whole, right? So when travel was being planned, booked, marketed, talked about, it lacked that emotional appeal that we as human beings have towards travel. And I knew that there was a void in the industry. And I had a deep belief that the future, because every industry evolves, right? So even the travel industry itself evolves very slowly, but it evolves. So even travel agents became the term travel advisors because they believe some sort of the concept of advising people versus just planning the trips, right? So there was already this like something shifting towards something more meaningful in the very slightest way. And I had a deep belief that where the future is heading, it's going to be about using travel beyond just vacations and as a way for us to live our life, feel our best, do our best. And that's going to look different for everyone.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. And then your work with wellness and life, business, and other types of coaches, right? How can an existing coach can integrate your travel coaching into what they're already doing or do without starting over?
Yeah, a common thing that I hear amongst others who find us is that, this has been the missing link that I didn't know I needed or that was missing. We all, let's think about travel itself. Travel is such a common thing that bonds us all. Like, even if you're not in the travel industry, people love to talk about travel. They love to follow people who travel online. We like to absorb anything travel, daydream about travel, hope that our vacation time comes up soon so we can go on that vacation. Like, people love travel. Oh, it's not like they're loving knitting all the time and they're loving all these other things that exist. It's travel. And so what I've noticed is that people have this coaches, you become a coach of any kind because you want to help people. You want to take them on a journey and transform them in some way, whether it's business, life, health, wellness, whatever, and fitness. And travel is such a transformative tool. But what I hear them say is like, well, I've kind of like encouraged them to travel a bit, but I never thought about actually implementing it into my business model and into my services and into my branding. But now it makes sense because travel doesn't always mean getting on a plane and going abroad, right? It's not about traveling to 84 countries for your clients. It's about using what I call these elements of travel. So time in nature, getting out of your comfort zone, trying something new, changing environments, all these things that we experience through travel, that travel embodies and exposes us to. We can, as coaches, any sort of coaches, implement these different things into the journey of helping your clients achieve the goals and outcomes that you are hoping to help them achieve.
I am so glad that you clarified that because you're right. I'm actually sitting here and listening to you and I'm thinking, well, number one challenge, not everybody can afford to go travel to another country. And here we go. You're just redefining that thought process. It's not just you traveling to another country, as simple just driving to another city or another location you've never been to and just changing your environment. It can be such a blessing right there, So who tends to thrive the most inside your network?
The people who are crystal clear on their own why. So why are you becoming a travel coach? Why are you combining travel with how you help your clients? Having clarity on what travel has done for you and your own why beyond the typical because you like to explore new places and go on adventures and see new sights and try new foods, that really tells us nothing about our why for travel, but really what travel does for us on a human level and being able to translate that into the desired goals and outcomes and solutions and transformations that your ideal clients have. So being able to get that clarity and set that foundation for your business are those who are going to thrive the most.
And then for the entrepreneurs or business owners who are listening right now, how should they think about using travel intentionally instead of just seeing this as a time away from the business, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's decades worth of research out there that talk about the professional benefits of travel. So boosting creativity and innovation, exposing you to new perspectives and new ideas, giving you the time and space to think, right? So a lot of times when we're so stuck in our business, that's why a lot of business owners like to travel, because changing environment, it gives us the ability, the time, the space to focus on something else and put our business aside for just a moment. And in those moments is when we oftentimes get the most clarity. I know that works for me, and I've heard from so many other different types of business owners. But also, again, there's so much research out there that talks about and supports. It's interesting. When I was doing research over 6.5 years ago on just these mental, emotional, spiritual, personal, and professional wellness benefits of travel, I came across a lot of different examples. So there's a lot of different and companies that came about because the founder was on a trip or on a vacation or integrated one of these elements of travel. For example, the creator of the play Hamilton was on a beach vacation and just relaxing. And that's where the idea for creating the play Hamilton came from. The founder of Dropbox was traveling along I believe it's the East Coast on a bus and came up with this idea for Dropbox as well.
The Airbnb was found because the owner was just traveling. I think they were in Paris and they just couldn't find a decent spot to stay. I think that was the story, and that's how Airbnb was formed, right? So, what do you think the biggest mistake people make when they try to do this alone?
When they try to figure out their own travel coaching business?
Right. Yeah. I mean, because you have a platform, you have everything set up. You've learned a lot. I don't want to say you're a shortcut, but you certainly can save them a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what our program's designed to do, really take them along that journey. And as I build my own wellness travel coaching businesses, I built the travel coach certification program alongside it and shared everything that I learned and throughout the years. But a common mistake that I find people do who are trying to do this on their own is they lack the clarity on what differentiates them from others in the travel industry. And because the travel agent advisor industry is like the biggest dominated industry, part of the industry when it comes to a travel business, right? Everyone, if they say they have a travel business and they're individuals, they think that they're a travel agent, or your mind's going to go to a travel agent. And so oftentimes people try to compete with that. And so it's really important to get crystal clear on your own why for your business and what is your desired business model. Because making commissions like travel and doing bookings for trips isn't the only way to have a travel business. There's so many other different ways that you can turn what it is that you believe specifically about travel into different revenue streams for your ideal clients. But setting that foundation for your business is so important. I think people miss that mark. They don't get clear on the problem that they're solving for their clients, who exactly their ideal clients are. Because in this industry, when it comes to, in particular, the travel agent advisor industry, coming up with who's your ideal client, the industry has put things into categories for so long. Luxury, do you serve adventure travel? Do you serve women who travel? Do you serve solo travel? Do you serve cruises or European travel? Like there's these categories, but putting your business into a category like that does not tell people why they should have that experience or that specific type of ideal client, why they should even care about travel. These are the things that travel coaches need to break down in order to have a successful business.
So essentially, instead of just sell them on a trip or give them the service to get them from point A, point B, they never really connect, or they don't have a system how to connect the travel with why they're doing what they do. And it has to be an emotional connection, which, let's be honest, it's eventually increases the repeat business, right? So because people start seeing the change in their personal life. Wow, that's pretty awesome. What about AI, right? AI is everywhere in travel now, everywhere. From planning to booking. Where does AI helps your coaches save time, and where does the human element still matter the most?
Yeah, well, I love using AI. I use ChatGPT almost every day for everything that I do in my business from a business standpoint, right? And there's a place for that in any sort of business, in particular the travel industry. Despite the future of travel being very AI dominated, which it is, I see a lot of articles, there's a lot of events, like everything is about AI. But I firmly believe that those companies in travel that keep the human-centric approach to travel in the forefront are going to supersede the AI ones, because travel is so personal and it is so emotional that people want that connection. That is one of the fundamentals of travel, is people in place, human connection, right? Whether it's within your own family, whether it's meeting other travelers, whether it's storytelling, the person you met on the plane next to you, the person who's giving you personal recommendations and suggestions on how they felt when they went to a place and what it was actually like when they went there versus a robot telling you who never had been there before. All of that matters in the world of travel. And that's what's going to set those who tap into travel coaching into their business against everyone else in the future of travel.
Well, as your network and marketplace grows then, as you guys grow, what operational or tech challenges do you see becoming more important to solve at scale?
The TCN in general?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are growing tremendously. A big focus of mine for 2026 is expanding my team, putting people in positions that can kind of govern those certain pillars in our business. We have a travel agent arm, we have a wellness arm, we have a partnership arm, we have our events arm. We have different avenues in our business that really needs someone to kind of take control of that, because I'm one person, I can only do so much. And so being able to keep things at a scalable level and a manageable functional level, being able to delegate and build the team is essential for that. But then also just expanding our product line as well. So taking our signature program, and we're going to be expanding that into other programs for other areas in the industry.
What's one mindset shift they need to make right now?
They have to want it bad enough. You have
What
to
does
want
that
it.
mean?
You have to want it enough to block out the noise. You're going to get you're going to be comparing yourself to everyone else. You're going to say, well, I should be at this point in my life, or I should make this amount of money in, right now. But business is hard and entrepreneurship is not for everybody. So if you don't fall in love with what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, and wanting to follow through with your vision bad enough, you are not going to make it over those tough days. You're not going to make it through those quiet months. You're not going to make it over those hurdles on all the problems that arise in your business, and that the fires you need to put out. For all the naysayers who tell you that, travel coaching is not a thing and that you can't have a business like this, I speak from personal experience of wanting this not only bad enough, but believing so deeply in what I'm doing and creating, even so much so to a delusional standpoint, is essential in business. Like, look at all the business owners out there, the entrepreneurs that really thrive. They were on a delusional level of, like, they knew in their gut that what they were doing is a thing, despite how long it took for them to get there.
Yeah.
And being able to accept that journey, no matter how long it takes.
If you're starting over, if you've done it again, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't do anything differently. Yeah, I've been asked that question many times before, but I'm a big believer that everything happens in your journey, whether it's life or business, at the right time for the right reasons, and that everything that you do, mistake you make, trial that you do, everything you learn something from it. And all of those lessons learned get you to that next step. And so I don't have regrets. I wouldn't change anything differently. Yeah, that's my personal opinion, because I know how hard I've worked and everything I've done and tried over the years. Yeah.
That's awesome. So where do you see your business 2-3 years ahead?
Yeah, dominating the travel agent industry. And what I mean by that is incorporating that every travel agent advisor out there, like almost every one of them, is also a certified travel coach, and knows how to really go the depth with their clients and really provide those meaningful experiences. And we're also hoping to going to be expanding into the corporate space, so that our travel coach directory, our network, is an opportunity for employees, those in the corporate world,
Wow.
business travelers, to be able to find and hire and access travel coaches for whatever it is that they are looking for, whether it's burnout, whether it's well-being, whether it's inspiration to move up in their role, whatever it is, using travel as a tool to help them do that.
I obviously wish you unbelievable luck in 2026 and going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.